But let's get to what you guys came to hear about my review of the debut of AEW Dynamite on TNT on Wednesday night. Such a great show. I thought this was a strong debut for AEW on TNT. Not an amazing show, but overall a very well-rounded show with a lot of good matches. Cody took on Sammy Guevara in the first ever match in AEW Dynamite history. Good match. I thought Guevara was the real star here. As I was texting with RJ during this match, I think it's pretty obvious by this point, and this has been the case for a while now. Cody is not a great wrestler, I would say. He's a great showman, a lot like The Miz. Not a great technical wrestler, but he can go in there and tell a great story. I think WWE at the time that he was there kind of focused a little too much on the storytelling and not enough on the in-ring action. And Ring of Honor focused way too much on the in-ring action and not enough on the story, which is why he kind of stuck out like a sore thumb in both promotions in the ring. In AEW, though, he's been having some of the best matches of his entire career. And again, that may not be saying much, but he's had great matches so far with Dustin, Darby Allin, Shawn Spears, even the tag team match at Fight for the Fallen with him and Dustin versus the Young Bucks. All great matches. And this was no different. Another very good match from Cody. He wins. Chris Jericho attacks afterward to hype up the Full Gear AEW World Championship match for next month. In our next match, MJF beat Brandon Cutler. The match was fine. Essentially an extended squash for MJF, which was fine. It kind of looked like they botched the ending there, and that Cutler may have been legit hurt after falling off the top rope, so hopefully he's not out for long if he's out at all. MJF did win, though, and really, I know they probably cut this thing short because he was hurt, but to be honest, though, did this really need to go beyond 2 or 3 minutes? There's no reason for every match in the show to go 20 minutes. There's just not. But this was a good match, though. SCU and the Lucha Brothers brawled on the stage after hyping up the upcoming AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament, so I'm looking forward to that. They're not even facing off in the first round, but maybe they will at some point. I doubt it. In the finals, I guess, potentially. I doubt it. But I guess they just wanted to get them on the show, which is fine. Pac and Adam Page faced off in a match we were supposed to see at Double or Nothing months ago. We finally got it here. Well worth the wait. Great match. Very good performances from both men. Hell of an effort. In the end, Pac did go over. Not clean. He did low blow Adam Page before winning. So Pac is on a roll right now. I assume he will earn himself a shot at the AEW World Championship before long. Maybe as early as that upcoming episode of AEW on TNT in a couple weeks. I think they've advertised an AEW World title match between Jericho and a mystery opponent for a couple weeks from now. And honestly, Pac would make sense. He's now beaten Omega and Adam Page, who just went for the AEW World Championship at All Out. So I would assume that spot goes to Pac. I mean, you have two heels in Pac and Chris Jericho, but it would be a hell of a match. So I think that might be where they're going with this. Rio knocked off Nyla Rose to become the first ever AEW Women's Champion. A good match, I thought. I'm not a big Nyla Rose fan. I just don't think she's all that great in the ring. But Rio got the best match that she could out of her. And Nyla Rose wasn't terrible, but she did not have the greatest performance on the show at all. Few sloppy spots aside, this was a good match. They captured the crowd by the end. Some very good near falls down the stretch. And Rio knocking off Nyla Rose to become the all-new, first-ever inaugural AEW Women's Champion, as she should have. There was no reason to have Rose become the first-ever champion. Aside from, I know Brandy Rhodes is their chief operating officer. I figured that they would put the belt on Nyla just to say, the first-ever transgender champion. Like, this is amazing. The transgender stuff I really don't care about. I don't think anyone cares about, nor should they. Who gives a shit? Male, female, it doesn't matter what you are. Who cares? But that's a WWE move. To make history for the sake of making history, not because it's organic. She's not the greatest wrestler in that division, so putting the belt on her would have been a mistake. Rio winning, though, I thought was the right call. Hopefully they can build a Rio and Britt Baker at some point for that AEW Women's Championship. So this was a good match. And then we get to the main event. AEW World Champion Chris Jericho teaming up with Santana and Ortiz. It was supposed to be two mystery opponents, but they are partners. But they revealed it on the AEW Countdown special on Tuesday night that it would be Santana and Ortiz, which is fine. I mean, I think a lot of people expected that anyway, so I'm not mad at the fact that they gave it away on the show, which actually ended up doing 631,000 viewers on Tuesday night. For a special that really wasn't all that well advertised, that's an amazing rating. That is phenomenal. I thought that Dynamite would bring in that amount of people, and maybe they will. But I think it's a lot more likely with the advertising they've had with this show that Dynamite brings in close to 1 million viewers, if not beats that. I think it's very likely, and again, this might be up after the ratings are already released, but I think there's a very good chance Dynamite could crack 1 million viewers. There's a very good chance of that happening. But anyway, so Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz, the former LAX of Impact fame, who were amazing over there, knocking off the Elites, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. Very good main event. Jericho pinning, I think, Matt Jackson with the Judas Effect to win for his team. Afterward, out came Cody to make the save. Dustin Rhodes, who we have not seen in an AEW ring since Fight for the Fallen. Sammy Guevara came out, and they debuting Jake Hager, the former Jack Swagger of WWE fame as well. Former WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I got a feeling he would be on the show. I had seen some reports. I mean, I didn't go out of my way to spoil myself, but I had seen YouTube videos saying, former WWE star, rumored to debut on Dynamite, and it showed the fucking silhouette of Jack Swagger. I'm like, well, no shit, it's Jack Swagger. And I figured he would be AEW bound at some point anyway. I mean, he's talked about in interviews over the last year or so, and not year, I mean, AEW wasn't a thing a year ago, but, even earlier this year with Chris Van Vliet, he said in his interview with him that, I have talked to Cody about them bringing me in at some point, and Tony Khan saying after the show last night that Swagger has been signed to AEW since before All Out does not surprise me at all. I assume the deal has been in place to bring him in for months. As early back as Double or Nothing weekend, but it never really worked out because he has the MMA thing going on right now. He's a Bellator superstar or whatever. He's been doing indie dates, and he's improved a lot since he left WWE years ago. So anyone saying, it's Jack Swagger, what a poor message to send. This is no, fucking Lex Luger on Nitro in 1995, and I agree with that. But at the same time, though, I do think it's a good move. He's improved a lot since we last saw him. He is a legit athlete now. I mean, he already was a legit athlete. And these guys are all athletes, but I'm talking about like amateur wrestling background. He's doing the MMA thing right now. He's in great shape. He looks good. I've seen him on the indie scene at NEW shows, and he's always come across very well to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the table in AEW. I know he still has just some people who have not seen his work outside of WWE, that WWE stench, as the former Jack Swagger, having been there for 10 years, kind of being booked as a perennial loser, despite being a former World Heavyweight Champion. He was kind of a loser for the better part of his time there. Unfortunately, because the guy's good, but he's also a charisma vacuum, so hopefully they either give him a manager or a mouthpiece or whatever. But the guy is good, though, and I'm glad he's in AEW. So moving on over to NXT on Wednesday. So I watched Dynamite first. Overall, I thought it was a very good effort, very good first effort from AEW, and I'm sure the shows will only continue to improve going forward. For anyone saying, it wasn't that good and all this other stuff, it's an all-new show. As long as the show didn't suck, I think it was a good show. They can only build off this in the future, so I thought it was a very enjoyable first episode.